Mobile courts, a committee to look into previous cases of gender-based violence and a review of laws and policies. These are some of the solutions suggested by security cluster ministers to deal with the ongoing scourge of violence against women. They've also blamed the recent public violence on criminality and economic sabotage, saying South Africa is not xenophobic. Lindsay Dentlinger has been tracking the story for us, joining us live now from our Cape Town studio. And Lindsay, so what exactly is government's response to this violence as far as action is concerned?
Good afternoon, Tembekile. Well, as you said there, the ministers believe that this is not a xenophobic violence. They're saying even though foreign nationals too have died of the 12 people who have been killed in the recent spate of violence, they believe that foreigners are not the target, and these are all just elements of criminality. It says it's relying on early warning systems, on intelligence, and it's satisfied as a chairperson of the Safety Cluster Ministry, Defence Minister Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula says that they've nipped it in the bud and they're satisfied that they're getting enough intelligence to stem the violence. And this is what she had to say at that briefing in Parliament earlier today.
The South African Police Service will continue to act against any acts of lawlessness, irrespective of whether a person is a South African or a foreigner. There will be continuous inspections by the different law enforcement agencies countrywide to ensure compliance with the laws of our country.
Lindsay, every day women are killed. We see images on social media of some or other women said to have gone missing, later found dead. What is the government going to do to fight gender-based violence?
They're really taking their lead from what President Cyril Ramaphosa announced last week, in chief amongst those investigating cold cases, the SAPS and the NPA to form a committee to look into those. Also the reopening of sexual offences courts. There are over 90 of them running in the country. Justice Minister Ronald Lamola will be opening another of those in Limpopo on Friday. And he says they're looking into situations where there's a police station perhaps and not a court, whether they bring mobile courts around. They'll also be convening meetings of vice chancellors of universities to find out and to make sure that campus security is tightened up. And then of course that issue about whether or not bail is granted to offenders or those accused of sexual crimes. Justice Minister Ronald Lamola says it is within the magistrate's powers to consider how the communities are feeling about these accused before deciding whether to grant them bail or not. And the same holds true for convicted offenders as to whether they should be granted parole. But here's the Minister on Defence again as far as what these cluster ministers are going to do with regards to gender-based violence.
A committee will be set up by the South African Police Service and the National Prosecution Authority to look at all cold cases which relate to sexual offences and gender-based violence. In addition, the South African Police Service has committed to training more female officers to deal with victims of violence and crimes against women and children at station level. This, of course, we believe will go a long way in ensuring that victims are not subjected to secondary victimization. In fact, there is a proposal that it's about time that we have one-stop shops in the event a victim of sexual violence reports such an incident at let's say, reports to a hospital or a clinic, that the police will be there, that those who will be testing DNA will also be there, so that we don't have secondary victimization of women. So the woman doesn't move from hospital or clinic to a police station and then to a pathologist. All of those things should be done in one center.
Minister Nosiviwe Mapisa Nqakula bring an end to our conversation with ENC reporter Lindsay Dentlinga live